Well, yes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to the F05 Championship. My name is TK. It's a pleasure to have you alongside me for my first of many here in the commentary box for the F05 Championship. I've been told it's going to be a spectacular spectacular race tonight. Singapore's always an entertaining race, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great one to kick things off at. We'll have a quick look at who's going to be heading out on our laps very quickly. Try and catch who's first out. It's going to be one of the Red Bulls. I believe that is going to be Peeler. I'm going to call him that. I'm assuming the three's at ease, but it's good afternoon. Hope everyone has had a lovely Sunday. Hope everyone enjoyed the Brazilian Grand Prix earlier on this afternoon. It's always a good one to watch, and I hope you had as much fun as I did whilst watching it with friends, with family, how we all like to enjoy these. But yeah, 18-minute qualifying session coming up for us this afternoon, and then it's 31 laps around this Singapore circuit. And that's what these drivers will have to endure. Bear in mind that it's probably still quite warm out there as well. Let's go ahead and look at our track map for today. Bear in mind this is the old Singapore layout, so there's none of that if you ignore the cut-in under the stadium section in Sector 3. But apart from that, everything remains the same. Beautiful bit of track is Singapore as we keep on board with Peeler. Let's have a look at what he's doing as he goes through start Sector 3, end of Sector 2 here. You can see the track map on the bottom right hand of your screen that little cut under the stadium no longer exists. It means the track is now quicker, more free-flowing, and actually a lot better for racing when it comes to overtakes. Gives that drivers a little bit longer on the straights to be able to get an overtake done. So, keeping on moving, it's going to be an Alfa Romeo that will go to start their lap first. It's going to be Gramter 1-3-2-2. Watch him come around the final couple turns here. Almost car on the limit, comes across the line, gets the DRS wing open, and it's our first flying lap here for the F05 Championship in Singapore. Let's keep on board with him and see what he does at the moment. We'll get the tyres out of the way because everyone's going to be on soft tyres pretty much at the moment. This Alfa Romeo glowing in the Singapore streetlights. How's he fare as he comes to probably one of the second heavy braking zones on the track? He does well, gets that rear wing open once again as he heads down to start Sector 2 here. A third of the way through this tricky street circuit here in Singapore. He's doing well to navigate the turn, staying out of the walls at the moment. Obviously ignoring the purple sector, he's only got the first driver to go through at the moment, so purple times can be a little bit buggy. He keeps the car away from the wall. Maybe not as pushing quite as hard as he may be in about 14 minutes time, but fair enough for an outlap. This is going pretty well for the Italian team. Using all of the track available to him, just running on those white lines. Being careful not to extend them, of course, would end up with a track limits penalty. Third and final time, this DRS wing gets opened down this Singapore street circuit for the Alfa Romeo as he heads into Sector 3. And it's going to be a good run down towards the final sectors of this lap now. Let's keep an eye on what's going on. As he heads down, last heavy braking zone of the lap, navigates the chicane well. What you previously would have known as Singapore sling, not quite so much nowadays, as he comes around the final two turns. What's the first time on the board going to be for Gramter? It's going to be a 1:31.1. That's a good baseline set down by the Alfa Romeo team. We'll hop on board with Peeler. I know he'll probably be next across the line. That's roughly where I was, unless Mercedes going to go in ahead of him. Let's see what happens on the board. Mercedes just starting their hot lap. So yeah, Red Bull second on the thing. On the timing board, rather, with a 1:35.4. Good lap time there for Peeler. Next across the line will be Apex Joe by the look of it. He sets a 1:34.3. Next across the line will be a Alfa Romeo. I believe that'll be Bomzer, sorry. Will be indeed. He goes second in the timing screen at the moment, 1:31.3. Good lap for him. I've known a few of these drivers previously to this. Son of Rome just sneaking in there without me catching it as he heads into third place with a 1:32.2. Alpha Tauri will be next across the line. That's going to be Vapor Min, and he does a 1:35.9. Rounding off 6 drivers out of the 15 so far to set a lap time. Next across the line will be Hoodie Pete. Hoodie Pete I know quite well. I've commentated on him before, and he's just starting his hot lap now. We'll watch on board with the Alpine, see how he goes on his flying lap. We'll go for drivers on board POV as well. Really have a look what this Singapore track has to handle. I know Pete probably won't be a big fan of being on board with, but we'll keep going anyway as we head down into the second braking zone here in the Singapore circuit. Manages that really well. Obviously, ERS being constantly burned as they head down that long straight. It's all about getting the braking zones right on this game, especially if you're running without the driving line or the driving line assist or braking assist. Lots of different assists can help you out. If you're driving without any of them, it can be very, very tricky to link up this circuit in particular. We know how difficult it can be. We've seen drivers crash out in some very spectacular ways in seasons past. I'm talking, of course, about real life F1, but very, very good so far for the Alpine driver. He passes his teammate. That's a crashed out AlphaTauri. We talked about how brutal that can be. Vapor Min on the inside of the tunnel, so finds himself as the first casualty of this afternoon's racing. AlphaTauri boss won't be too pleased about that, but fortunately he'll only be starting in 15th. 15 drivers on our grid today, and it will be a good 31 laps around this course. Aston Martin just getting out of the way of Hoodie Pete there, being really respectful as he lets both Alpines through. So great bit of cooperation there. Can Hoodie Pete say anything to his teammate here? Sonna Rome did a 132.2. What can Hoodie Pete do here as he comes around the final couple of corners? It's going to be a 135.7 for this Alpine driver. I wonder if he was a little bit put off by the crashes, have to navigate around some drivers. So don't rule Hoodie Pete out just yet. We've had a couple of other people sneak in to the timing chart. Smithy's gone up to third with a 137.7. Ghost Reaper, his teammate, is up in fifth with a 132.5. And OST Jeweler in there with a 132.5. Yeah, 132.5 as well. I thought I was about to repeat myself. I couldn't think for a moment. But El Pato, our session host, comes around the final corner. Where's he going to find himself? He finds himself just above his teammate in 7th place. A good result there for the second, well, one of the McLarens. Like I said, this is the first time I'm doing an F05 comms this afternoon. Hopefully, I'll try and get everyone's names right. I don't know much about some of the drivers, so if I do get some facts incorrect, please bear with me. I will learn them over the course of a season or so, and hopefully we'll have some good entertainment. But we're on board with It's Finn at the moment as he heads down to the end of Sector 3. We've got yellow flags constantly being thrown in Sector 2 here. It looks like an Aston Martin going slowly, maybe just through the kinks. John Boy Racing, though, has gone 6/10 quicker than nearly anybody else on this circuit at the moment. He finds himself currently on pole position with a 130.5, the Williams driver, showing that Williams are here to compete at the highest level still in Formula 1. It's a really good drive by him so far. Let's see if It's Finn can put himself up there as well as he comes round the second half of this circuit. Looks a little bit wobbly through Sector 2. That part of the track always catches a lot of drivers out. He gets that DRS wing open on the Red Bull. Let's see where he is on the timing split. It's a 106 flat. As he heads along Sector 3 now. Final few corners to go. Bear in mind that stadium section now removed from the track. Means less spectators can see, but actually better racing experience through the old Singapore Sling Styles era. And he's going to come around the final 2 corners now, see what he can produce. And it's going to be a 131.6 for It's Finn. Puts himself up into P4. So very good effort there by the Red Bull. Final driver, not to set a lap at the moment, and actually only just coming out of the pits as well. He's on, my apologies, on a hot lap now. Is Full Killer. Let's see where he can put himself up on this timing screen for the first time this session. Only driver currently not set a lap time. Bear in mind Vapor Mini as well has unfortunately crashed out, so won't be able to improve. But I know there's a lot of other drivers on that timing screen at the moment that definitely will want to improve, will want to go faster, and definitely will want to challenge John Boy Racing for that pole position. He navigates well through Sector 2 there, keeps the car quite stable into one of the harsher braking zones on the course, does that well. It goes a little bit deep though into the corner. He heads now into Sector 3. This is the all-important part of the track. He goes purple. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Goes a little bit deep in the corner as well. Can he recover this lap time? He's got 3 more corners to go on this first hot lap of his. Let's see what he does. Two corners remain. Quick left-handers. What's he going to be able to put on the board? It's a 1:31.8 for Full Killer. That finds himself up into P6, and that's a very good lap time for the Mercedes on a banker lap indeed. We keep on board. Let's see who else is out on a flying lap at the moment. Is Graham Tier out? He is indeed. The driver that we saw set the first hot lap of the session. He's currently 2/10 up on his time as he headed through Sector 1. Let's see what he can do through the rest of this lap. He had a pretty good lap for his banker lap. And he's just been let past by a fellow car. I believe that was by one of the Red Bulls. So let's see how he manages to produce. Let's check up on the Delta time screen as he exits Sector 2 here. What's the split going to be? He's about 1.3 tenths up on his time. It's not going to be enough to take pole position, but it will be enough to potentially secure a front row start here for the Alfa Romeo. He might have made a mistake in Sector 3 last time around. Not 100% sure on that one, but we'll keep on with him. Let's see what happens. It's going to be 2 corners to the left. Almost full throttle through both of these if your setup's right. Where's he going to put himself? Is a 1:38, 3/10 better than his previous attempt at a lap, and that's going to be a very good lap time for the Alfa Romeo. Ghost Reaper, one of the Ferraris, is currently on his hot lap. He's almost a second up on his time at the moment. This could be very good indeed. If that Delta was correct, we'd find himself in the low 131s, maybe even the high 130s. We'll keep on board with him as he heads through the final couple of corners. 2 to go for Ghost Reaper on a really good hot lap by the look of it. Where's he going to put himself? He comes across DRS opens. It's a 1:31.2. Like I said, low 131s. Currently finds himself in P3. Ostula is also on a hot lap. Let's see where Peeler's finding himself. Both of them, I believe, are on hot laps, but I think Ostula is just ahead. So we'll hop aboard with him. Unless Apex Joe's on a hot lap. He is, but he's only just started. El Pato's on his out lap. Starting his flying lap then, but we'll go back on board with OST Jeweler. Let's see what he can produce here. He's about 2.5 tenths up on his previous lap time. What can he produce? He decides against it. I wonder if he had a bit of an overcorrection, a bit of a mistake there. Not quite sure what happened, but we'll move swiftly on there. Into the pits he goes to get a fresh set of tyres. We've got an Alfa Romeo going slowly. Is that just Granta? That is Granta going back into the pits. But who's next? Is that Finn out on a hot lap, or is that Peeler's about to finish a lap? That is Peeler's about to finish a lap. 2 seconds up on his time almost. And almost exactly 2 seconds up on his lap time. It's only good enough for 11th place at the moment. But I wouldn't be too disappointed. And may I say, I really love the helmet that Red Bull driver's rocking. The pink and the black in this game, and in a lot of the previous F1's game, looks stunning on a helmet. And definitely my choice of helmet if I'm going to hop in a car for an occasional race or two. But we'll hop back on board with Apex Joe. Currently finds himself in 13th. He'll be looking to improve on that lap time. Try and get up at least within the top 10. Bear in mind, this is just a short qualifying session. No step about it. No Q1, Q2 or Q3. This is all about the one attempt or the one balance in it. And he finds himself going up into P11. Probably a little bit less than he would have hoped for, but not a bad lap time nonetheless. His teammate, El Pato 2, comes across the line. What's he going to be able to produce? It's a 1:31.9. Finds himself up into P8. A little bit better for that McLaren. And he'll be a little bit more happy to get within the top 10. But speaking about the battle at the top, this is where it's all going to be. Bombaz, as he comes around the final corner for him. Where's he going to improve? He doesn't. This is going to be his out lap then. And it definitely is. That's the start of a hot lap for Bombaz. Sometimes the game glitches out a little bit like that. And it is unfortunate for commentators. And we're trying to hype it up a little bit. And we just can't when the game glitches. Peelers is on his in lap, I believe. Everyone now kind of getting themselves set up for that next run attempt. I'm going to take a quick drink break. Everyone, yeah, like I said, everyone just getting themselves set up for that final run attempt. We've got McLaren stopped further on. And it was El Pato, I believe, just letting past the Aston Martin of Bombaz, who is on his hot lap. And it's finished just ahead of him as well. So we'll hop on board, we'll watch him whilst we talk through the strategy sort of element at the moment. Everyone wants to get that last hot lap in, especially when the track's rubbered in. Had a lot of running done to it already. And that's sort of when you want to do your final lap. The track will be grippier. Your car will stick better through the high-speed corners. You'll get more traction at the low-speed corners. And that's where it can really come into play. And that was contact with the wall by It's Finn. I'm almost certain of it. We'll be able to go back and have a look at that in a moment. But I can't quite believe what I just saw there. As It's Finn made contact with the wall on what was probably going to be quite a good hot lap. Bombaz pushes himself up into second. 6/10 quicker than his previous attempt. A really good drive there by the Aston Martin. He's going to set down the challenge down for a lot of the other drivers. Son of Rome has retired. I believe that is off the track. That is in the pit lane. So maybe deciding that he cannot, in fact, go faster this time around. But whilst we got a little bit of lull on track, we'll go back and have a look at that that replay. Let me take that cam screen off. But he was coming round to the final few corners and just clips the wall. We've seen that happen a few times, especially in Singapore. And I'm not quite sure what's happened with him there. Maybe just a mistake from the rookie. We see Smithy doing something similar. Bear with me, I'm just answering a question in the chat. But we'll hop aboard with some drivers. Hot lap times will be coming in thick and fast now. Gramter starts his hot lap. Let's see who's next going to be across the line. It's going to be Apex Joe. He's gone out for a second attempt by the look of it. He's really low on ERS as well. What's he going to be able to produce on this time? Can he go faster? Not on this. Oh, he does by 7,000ths of a second, but not by anything major on this occasion. OST Jeweler starts his hot lap. It's going to be a Haas of English Dave, who's invalidated his lap. He's not going to be too happy with that one. So, he's not going to be too happy. Will he have enough time to start another hot lap? He does just, but he's got a Ferrari right up his rear. Maybe Smithy might be a little bit impeded on this occasion by English Dave. English Dave in the Haas has really got to get a move on as he heads around the Singapore circuit. There's probably a big speed difference if we look at their deltas between their first attempts at this lap. And Smithy will be getting frustrated that he's getting caught up in this traffic. Poor time to try and start a hot lap, if you ask me. So we keep going. John Boy goes even faster then. He's into the 1:30.1. He is nearly 6/10 clear of anybody else in this lobby at the moment. And it's so clear. Was that English Dave just pulling off? It was. He's had a crash. I'm not quite sure who's with him. It's one of the Mercedes. And that's OST Jeweler. Not quite sure what's happened there, but we keep on board with Smithy. He's managed to maintain his hot lap, shall we say. As we keep coming along, he's going to go through sector 2. We'll have Grant here. I believe is that going across the line? Yes, it is. He doesn't improve on this occasion. Mercedes, a foul killer, goes into the pits. Smithy then has... Hard to have he's backed off. He's still going by the look of it, but it's for Mercedes. He'll be next across the line. It will be Apex Joe. Can he improve on his lap time, or will it be a pit stop? It's going to be an attempt for Apex Joe. I don't think it's going to be faster, though, and no, it's a 1:42 for him that time around. Next will be Smithy, though. We'll go back to him. The driver we saw getting caught up with English Dave earlier in a qualifying attempt. Will he go for the attempt? And no, he's decided that he's not going to be able to go faster on this occasion. Almost messes up the pit lane entrance as well. But Bombaz, I believe, is not going to be able to put another attempt. Doesn't look like he's got the ERS for it. John Boy is invalidated. And unless Hoodie Pete is going for it, which he actually might be here, definitely is, around the final few corners. Puts himself, doesn't improve, well, improves by over a second and a half, but just not quick enough to improve in terms of the timing streak. Bombaz into the pits, and I'm sure John Boy will be very shortly. And that will conclude our qualifying session here for the F05 Championship. We see John Boy come across the line to take his applause, shall we say, for an excellent qualifying session. As we just wait for all of our drivers to head back into the pits, we'll give you a quick rundown of how our grid looks for the race. 31 laps around the Singapore circuit to come. Do not step away from your screens. So John Boy gets pole position here. Then Bombaz gets that second place, over half a second slower though. Gramsci and Ghost Reaper find themselves on row 2. It's Finn who's jumped up to P5 and Smithy on P6. Folkiller and El Pato 7th and 8th respectively. And rounding out the top 10 are Son of Rome and OST Jeweler. The best of the rest then. English Dave finds himself in P11 for the start of this race. Apex Joe P12. Peeler in P13, Hoodie Pete P14, and Vapor Mini, after that incident on the bridge causing him to DNF, will start this race in P15 then. So a lot of work to do for the AlphaTauri driver. 14 positions to make up if he wishes to put a battle on this, on the win here. I can't see it happening if I'm completely honest, but who knows, with DNF, safety cars and red flags, it all is still to play for them as our drivers are just getting themselves set up in the pits. Mechanics making their final adjustments to set up fuel loads, tyres to name the least, as we wait for everyone to get themselves ready. I believe there will be a formation lap. Just double checking on that one. We'll wait as it will be surprised in a minute. We'll see what happens when it comes round to it. But as far as I'm aware, there should be a formation lap. Well, it doesn't look like there's going to be a formation lap, so it's going to be 5 red lights, and away they go here for the Singapore Grand Prix in the F05 Championship. John Boy gets a really good put away. Bombaz try to move down the inside, nowhere near clear enough. Ghost Reaper's going to ram Granter off the outside, through down the inside, tries its Finn. He's going to get caught in the drama, lose a couple of positions here. Granter's got that 4th position back, and its Finn is actually almost probably about to lose another place. Doswell told us P5. Foulkiller looked to dive down the inside there, making no time wasted. But El Pado's still up in P8. Son of Rome P7 still. There's positions changing up here as its Finn has already got back past Granter. Granter finds himself back down into P5 on the hard tyre though. And its Finn is up into P3. That looked like Ghost Reaper going a little bit wide, ghosting as well. A little bit of a kick out as well for the Ferrari. He does well to maintain it as he heads down into Sector 2. Did well to just save P5, if I'm being completely honest. As we head down, it looks to have settled out a little bit here in the top 6. No more changing it as we speak. But it looks like Ghost Reaper is almost under pressure from Foulkiller straight off the bat as they head through the bridge. The Mercedes looking to try and move around the outside on this occasion. He's got the better tyres than the Ferrari. He's got to make them work while he has the advantage. He doesn't necessarily have the pace in the straights. English David and Hoodie Pete have DNF'd at the start, and we already have a safety car here in the F05 Championship. I'm not quite sure what happened further back. It looks like English David and Hoodie Pete might have collided with each other. But that is the Alpine and the Haas, both out of contention for any more points here in this Singapore Grand Prix. John Boy, who was already up by about 2 and a bit seconds off the first lap, has just had that lead nullified. And will we see any early pit stops on this occasion? What we'll do is we'll go and have a look at see what tyres people are on. It's a mix of the yellow and the white wall tyre, the mediums and the hards, as they're more commonly known. And no one on the soft tyres we'd probably expect diving into the pits, so no one taking that risk on this occasion. Maybe no one saw a safety car, or no one wanted to risk it. But fair play to everyone who's made it through. 13 still remain, and we are under safety car instruction for the first time in this race. But we'll keep an eye on what everyone ends up doing. We have got some graphics we will show later. I won't show them just yet. But we'll have a quick check of how the weather's doing. There we go. 24 degrees is the air temperature. 29 degrees of the track temperature. Actually a fairly low track temperature here for Singapore. Bear in mind this is a night race. Forecast is there. It's going to remain pretty consistent for our evening events. So 25 degrees all throughout, dry. No rain is expected here for the Singapore Grand Prix. I think a lot of our drivers will be relieved to hear that. I don't think a lot of us like racing in Singapore in the wet. It's bad enough in the dry, trying to keep your car out the wall, but especially aquaplaning and just locking up on wet the tyres is not the ideal situation. But people in the chat, whilst we got this safety car opportunity, or not opportunity, safety car period, let me know how your day's been, what you're up to, who you're predicting to win here. I think my bet has to go down to John Boy, just from an absolutely insane qualifying without an incident here. I can't see him losing this unless someone can make an absolute attempt here and pulls off a bit of a miracle, if I'm being completely honest. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully one more lap under this safety car period and we will be good to go racing once again. This is a good time for our drivers just to reset their thinking, relax after that start, you know, just chill a little bit, get back into the mind frame of consistency and how they've done things so many times throughout their careers. And we'll keep an eye on what's going on. Safety car then, still driven by Bert Mylander. He's been in that car for absolutely years. Obviously not that same car, but in the F1 safety car for a good few years. One of the most experienced drivers probably on the grid at the moment. And he drives the safety car to its absolute limit in order to be able to get everything out of it, especially around a track like Singapore. The F1 cars are designed for it, and that Aston Martin really isn't designed for the speeds they're wanting to push it at and to still be considered safe. So fair play to Bert Mylander, our safety car driver, but hopefully this will be the last lap under those lights. Hopefully no more incidents for the rest of the evening, and we will be able to get on and go racing. We normally find out from race control as we head across the Sector 2 timing line. That hopefully will still be the case. And yes, indeed it is. Safety car is in this lap. So our drivers now have to get prepared for their first safety car restart of the afternoon. John Boy backing this pack right up. He controls them now. He's effectively the safety car for the next few hundred meters here on this track. He can control the pace. He chooses when he wants to go. Bear in mind that safety car does have to get into the pit lane first of all. But he can choose when he wants to go. He's weaving to try and get the tyres warm. A few of the drivers at the back maybe not deciding to do that to try and get some positions gained. But he has decided to keep the drivers going fairly slowly through this section. It'll probably be along this straight that he decides to drop it. Yes, it does. And he goes just before the final two corners. We've got to be so careful. Cold tyres around this part of the track doesn't always end well. But John Boy gets a fantastic restart as they head down the home finish straight here for lap 4 of the Singapore Grand Prix here in the F05 eSports Championship. Division 2, and it's Bombas who was initially looking around the outside. A little bit of kick out there from the Aston Martin. That's going to be cold, hard tyres, and it's Finn. He's already trying to capitalise. He's trying to go around the outside of turn 3 or 4 right there, and I don't think he's going to be able to make a move. Maybe he will, as you see a side-by-side comparison here as they head into the braking zone. It's Finn's going to get that move done. Can't stop the Aston Martin completely as they head down into the heavy braking zone, just making sure that position was all his, and didn't want to give anything for Bombas to be able to make a dive down. And now Bombas will have to try and rethink his strategy. Bear in mind he's on the harder tyre. We might see him go a little bit longer than Finn in front, but we have got a safety car again. And I don't quite know what's caused that one. Doesn't look like we've had any spins or anything. Oh, have we had some contact? We have had some contact. Foe Killer is missing a wing. Try to see if anyone else is missing a wing now. Bit of damage. No, it's just the Mercedes that is missing a front wing. But we're on that kind of period where maybe the medium runners think about coming in for an early pit stop. I don't think there's been enough time to make anything cleanly here or to gain any advantage from it. But it may be a consideration for a few of the drivers. But unfortunately, we are back under safety car conditions. And it's one of those things that does just happen. So, will we have anyone diving into the pits? We're having a look at the timing screen on the left-hand side of your screens. And it looks like pretty much everyone, or say that F05 killer, obviously having to go in for a wing change, but no one going in under strategy alone. So this is safety car number 2 here for the F05 Championship. Season, I don't know what season this is actually. Division 2. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we'll have a few more laps of racing on this occasion. We'll keep an eye on what goes on here then. No change for the first few laps of this race. Everyone is pretty much in the same. We'll have a look at how our positions have changed over the couple of laps of, well, about a lap and a half of racing that we've had so far. It's Finn has made it up 3 positions, so fair play to the Rebel driver. He's got where he needs to get at the moment. Bombaz, Graham, and Ghost Reaper all losing out 1. Son of Rome's up 3 positions as well. Smithy is down 1. El Paso maintaining P8. Only 1 of 2 drivers to maintain the position. The other one being John Boy in P1. OST Jeweler in P9 is up 1 position. Peeler is up 3. Apex Joe is up 1. Vapor Mini is up 3 as well. Foul Killer is down 6, unfortunately, after his collision and losing a front wing. Obviously, English Dave and Hoodie Pete both DNFing from this race early on. That was the cause of the first safety car. So hopefully not much more than this. We'll hopefully have 1 more lap under these conditions this time around. And then we shall be able to go racing once again. Hopefully we'll have, at least we had no red flags like we've had in the real life F1 this afternoon. Obviously that big collision, well, between the 2 Hasses and Alex Albon, I think is probably the best way to put it. Alex Albon having a big shunt into the wall as well. Obviously lots of debris. Red flag was brought out for that incident. I think we kind of all expected it when we saw how much was on the track. I feel bad for Oscar Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo being caught up in a fairly wild incident that had nothing to do with them. But that is the risk of racing, and that is part of the love of Formula 1, if I do say so myself. Hopefully now we'll have this lap of the safety car and no much more. We can have a look at how our tyres are doing, if you bear with me 1 second. So bear in mind, on values estimate, let's try and find someone that's actually got their tyres on. There we go. So Gramtier has actually got his telemetry turned on. 5 lap on the hards at the moment. They're only sitting about 7 or 8%. No front wing damage for the Alfa Romeo at the moment. I'm going to wait for that all-important message from Race Control. There it is. Safety car is in this lap. So 8% on all of Gramtier's tyres at the moment. That's how our hards are currently sitting. It's interesting to note how the different tyres are handling. The medium guys at the front seem to be running a little bit better at the moment. But don't count on that so far. Let's watch as John Boy attempts safety car restart number 2. See what he does for this. And around the final corner he goes. He has dropped that hammer on the final 2 turns. He's got those tyres up to temperature, and away he goes for safety car restart number 2. We'll have a look further back in the field. It looks like an Alpine of Son of Rome's already trying to make a move on the Ferrari, or maybe just a little bit too far back on this occasion. As we head through the S's, Bombaz is already nearly on the rear gearbox of Finn. Finn is trying to make an early push onto John Boy to try and keep up with him on this occasion. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, but he's going to try to do all he can. Hoodie Pete has left the session after his earlier DNF, but that's not to worry at the moment. I'm trying to see who's battling out at the moment, who's closest. It looks like Jeweler is probably the closest to El Pato in front of him. Will he try to go on the outside? Door gets shot on him by El Pato. Got yellow flag once again. Apex Joe is round, and that's a lot of debris as Vapor Mini is out as well. And that is another safety car, ladies and gentlemen. Not quite sure what happened there, but it is Vapor Mini that is out of this race. We'll go back and have a look at what we did see. Live action still at the top for you. But as we saw the yellow flag, we see Apex Joe going around, and just the two coming together. And Vapor Mini is just on the outside wall there with no front tyre. So I'm not sure what happened there, but we are safety car number 3. Oh, as we see Apex Joe drifting around one of the corners as he gets himself going again. That was actually rather entertaining. I'm going to go watch that back as well. Comes around this corner, maybe a little bit too hard, just drifts around that corner. Did really well to hold it out of the wall, actually. But keeping going for our... maybe we'll see a pit stop. We'll have a look how his tyres are doing. If he's got his things on, he doesn't. They're on approximates. So bear in mind, people who have shared their telemetry with us will be able to see live everything else estimates. And Apex Joe does retire on the track. So bit of a poor one from him there. Alpine coming in for a pit stop. They put on a fresh set of hard tyres. Maybe there's a front wing change as well. Not quite sure what's going on. We'll call aboard El Pato. He's our session host at the moment. Hopefully he's got his info turned on. He does indeed. His hard tyres currently sitting between 8 and 11% after 7 laps of racing. Bear in mind we've had probably 2.5 laps of racing so far within these 7 laps. But not to worry too much. His tyres handling well so far. They could probably go for most of the race at this point, because we're a third of the way through the race and these tyres are handling absolutely spectacularly. Bear in mind they haven't actually done much laps of racing. The Son of Rome now catching up to the rest of the field. Will the safety car be a blessing in disguise and just give us one lap here if Son of Rome can catch up in time? We wait eagerly to see if that's going to be the case, or if they're going to make us do another lap under safety car here. It's all on the Alpine, whether he can catch up to the rest of the field in time. I reckon he's close enough. No, but not to this occasion, says Race Control. We're going to go for another lap. Normally, this is where I'd try and show you what happened last week, or give you some important information. That's what I'm planning on doing next time around. But as it's my first stream with the F05 eSports Championship, unfortunately, I can't give you information like that at the moment. So do stay with us. We will hopefully have some more racing for you in a moment. Son of Rome drifting around one of those corners as well. Didn't find himself too comfortable on those new tyres. Maybe they're just struggling to get up to temperature. Maybe he's just not too comfortable on the hard tyre in general. Let's wait and see what happens with him. As they come around to start lap 9 of this Singapore Grand Prix. I think we've had about 2.5, 3 laps of racing, if you can call it that. But it's been, if you like crashes and you like watching them, then this has been the race for you so far. But we'll hop on board. Well, I say we'll hop on board. We'll stay on board with Son of Rome. He is currently in last place, P11, Only one more DNF until everyone will score points here in the F05 Championship. So we're coming up to that all-important Sector 2 timing line, as that is normally when Race Control will inform us they are bringing the safety car in, allowing us to go racing again. So we eagerly await it on this occasion. We'll go back on board with John Boy Racing. Actually, we'll go on board with its Finn again. It's nice to watch the safety car restart from normally from second place's perspective, just to really try and see what is happening. There we go. A little bit of a late message there from Race Control, but a message comes through nonetheless, and it's going to be a restart here for its John Boy. Its Finn will be anchoring at the bit to try and get up into first position. We'll watch on board with its Finn for this restart. He almost slips the wall there, warming up his tyres. We've seen that before in other championships. Drivers just hitting the wall, trying to warm up their tyres. They get a little bit too comfortable with the car, and then that happens. Bear in mind, its Finn cannot go alongside the Williams. The Max Verstappen rule being put in place after the 2021 season conclusion. But John Boy is waiting to drop the hammer. He goes at the start of the final two turns. Its Finn has guessed him almost perfectly. He's already alongside, going down the start-finish straight. John Boy tries to push him to the inside. He's going to get the inside nonetheless. Inside becomes the outside, will become the inside again, but he will have to go a little bit slower to it. We'll get back to the far angle. Who's going to be on top as they head into the next braking zone? It's going to be so close between the two drivers. It's Finn on the outside again. Gets pushed to the outside. Oh, I thought there was contact between the two drivers there, but John Boy has to concede the leads for a brief moment here as its Finn finds himself up into P1 for the first time in this race. Gramter actually trying to move down the inside, and he decides against it on this occasion. But John Boy back up into P1. There's contact further back, as I think Smithy manages to get himself some wing damage. We'll go back and have a look on that later. And its Finn is now finding his rhythm. He's pulled 7/10 out from John Boy already. He knows what he's got to do to win this race. He's just got to get away, get out of DRS zone of that Williams. The Williams can be so strong under DRS. We saw it during qualifying. Get John Boy out of his rhythm, and it might be doable for the Rebel driver. Oh, and that's John Boy into the wall! And we said about is all it takes is getting someone a little bit uncomfortable around these streets and chaos can ensue. And that is John Boy into the wall. We're under virtual safety car. Now we'll go back and have a quick look at that. He was just getting a little bit unstable. Rounds that turn. I wonder if there was any contact with the wall or something. Going through the tunnel. Just lost it on the exit of the bridge then. Didn't look like there was any contact between any of our drivers. But my, oh my, as that just mixed things up here in the F05 Championship. John Boy, who was leading this race and probably predicted to win it quite comfortably, has fallen down to P9. He finds himself clearing a bit of the chaos. Safety car resumes. We've got a yellow flag further back. Bombaz has got a... Ghost Reaper gets himself a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Folk Killer, I believe, got one for speeding under safety car. That might even be a drive-through if I can have a quick look at penalties. And it is indeed a drive-through for the Mercedes driver speeding under virtual safety car. John Boy is into the pits. He probably got a drive-through as well, maybe. Oh no, he gets himself a 5 second for contact. But a lot of drivers into the pits now, probably trying to make benefit of that virtual safety car. John Boy, though, in for a front wing replacement. I have a feeling serving the 5 seconds. Yes, he does. Serves the 5 seconds at the same time, but this probably will find the Williams driver in dead last place. But it's Son of Rome now trying to catch Smithy, but further back, Fokula, it will be closer than that. On board with Son of Rome. This is where we can bring on our battle for the first time. As we see the gap between Smithy and Son of Rome here, we'll watch as the battle gets closest. This is the battle for P4 as things stand. It's the Alpine trying to chase the Ferrari. The gap is widening to 9.5 tenths. But every now and then it just gets a little bit closer between the two drivers. Son of Rome just needs to find his rhythm on these hard tyres, and he will be able to get a move done. Smithy not looking too comfortable on his set at the moment, but the DRS will be active, I believe. No, it won't. We're still under the safety car restart procedure, so not for the first 2 laps. But it will be Son of Rome still pushing. That gap is still decreasing. We're down to 7.5 tenths now. Probably down to closer to 7 tenths. Will we see 6.5 down the straight? Yes, we do. That Alpine is an absolute beast in a straight line at the moment. As we head round the final few turns, where's he going to see as we cross the start-finish straight? And it's going to be down to 8 tenths here as they come across the line. That battle forecast still showing us so much information between the two drivers. This is still one of the closest battles on the track at the moment. Everyone else fairly spread out. Smithy, the top three have kind of run away with it after that collision with John Boy, caused everyone below from Smithy to have to slow up a little bit. So the top three have got a little bit of grace here. A lot of drivers into the pits as well, so don't forget that in the latter stages of this race. We have less than 20 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. It's still, though, Son of Rome trying to chase Smithy. And we'll pull this back up. We're now getting close to those crucial numbers. We're within DRS range. And I believe they will have it along this next section. They've got to get through the tight and twisty section of Sector 2. And then we'll have some DRS assistance, I believe, for the Alpine driver. Finn up at the top. He is 8 tenths away from Gramter at the moment. Gramter's also gaining. So we'll go back and have a look at that after this potential DRS zone. I think this should be it. And yes, it is. DRS open. You see it both on your screen and on the battle graphic as well. And it looks like Son of Rome really not finding himself too comfortably at the moment. But we'll hop on board with Gramter. He sets himself the fastest lap of the race. And he's chasing the Red Bull in front of him. That RB19 just signifies it's Finn in front. Unfortunately, he hasn't turned his telemetry on with us, so we don't get to use his name. But the Alfa Romeo really putting in a stint here to try and capitalise on John Boy's error earlier. He knows that win is now in sight. He's just got to try and push, overtake, and DRS active. As they head down to the braking zone, he's just got to be smart as well. Bombaz sets the fastest lap of the race on a new set of medium tyre. He currently finds himself in P7 here. But the battle is all up the front. It's so close between the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo. I wonder if we'll see a move done by Gramter on this occasion. We'll try and switch back to the TV camera angles as they come around the slanting left-hander. We saw a little bit of a kick out there from Finn's car. We might be able to see how the tyres are doing for Gramter. Still on about 20% after 12 laps. So these hards are really going to go the distance after all of this safety car nonsense. They're going to have their life extended almost by a considerable amount here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a set of softs bolted on at the end by a few of our hard runners. He tries to go around the outside, switches to the inside as we head down. It's going to become the outside, though, for this little bit of the Singapore sling. Nowhere near as brutal as it used to be. But he just can't make the move on this occasion. Comes round the start-finish straight, runs a little bit wide there. And that will lose him some time to its Finn in front. We're going to go back to Son of Rome here. This is really close between the two of them now. That's not what I want on screen. That's what I want on screen. Will he try and move down the inside? Tries to dive. Smithy tries to block him out. There's contact between the two of them. Both of them has lost time here. And that's really not what you want to see between two drivers, is contact between the Ferrari and the Alpine. And Son of Rome has just lost all of the progress he just made and has to start it all again over the next few laps. Bombaz trying to go down the inside of Ghost Reaper. Ghost Reaper almost flinches to make him move, but Bombaz is staying there, tries the inside. Will there be contact? There's a little bit of contact between the two of them. Bombaz comes out worse, but no worse than actually Ghost Reaper in front. Both of the cars remain damage-free, and I think both of them got away with a lucky one there, but they're still on the attack. As they head down the second straight, is DRS active for the Aston Martin? Yes, it is. As we head down the right-hander, will we see a dive here by the Aston Martin on the braking zone? Not on this occasion, but he does get a better turn in than the Ferrari. Will he switch to the inside late brake? Yes, he does. He's become Daniel Ricciardo. Last of the late breakers. Contact again with Ghost Reaper. Maybe that's Ghost Reaper just not leaving enough space on the inside. And maybe we'll see a little bit of frustration here from the Aston Martin driver as we see this repeatedly happening every time he tries to go down the inside. Once again, Ghost Reaper goes deep into the corner, opening it up for Bombaz, but Bombaz just can't seem to capitalise straight off the bat. It's just too tight a street circuit. And he tries down the inside of the really tight hairpin, doesn't get the move done, and that might have compromised his exit a little bit more than he was hoping it would. DRS is active, but he's just not going to have enough straight line speed to make an approach on this occasion. We've got to switch up at the top. as Granted has get past. It's Finn, then got straight back past him. And I did see a little bit of damage flying off one of the cars. I'm not quite sure who it was. It looks only minor. But I tell you what, Finn battery is flashing right now. He is losing a lot of this ERS. He's not doing well for him. Not doing well in terms of battery. And Granted will know that when he sees those rear lights flashing on the Red Bull. He knows what that means. He knows he can now make advantage of it. And he's just got to bide his time well. But we're going to go back to Bombaz and Ghost Rider. They're so close together. You couldn't even see them at the start of that picture together. And Bombaz really pushing Ghost Reaper through it. DRS active. He's probably going to be close enough now to make a move. He just backs off though. Maybe is he playing chicken with the Ferrari? Really interesting tactics here by Bombaz. He knows when he wants to make a move, rides the curb on that inside, throws him a little bit deep into that corner. But I wonder if he's just waiting for the move where he knows he can get it done. And maybe does it on a different occasion. But really bizarre to see him just backing off from the overtake on Ghost Reaper there. Will he go for it here into the heavy, tight left-hander? No, he doesn't. But he sends Ghost Reaper deep. Great overtake there by Bombaz. No fault of his own. Sends the Ferrari deep. He'd been doing it for the past couple of occasions. We'll go back and show you that again. It's excellent bit of driving with the Aston Martin. Puts pressure on the Ferrari by feigning to the inside. Ducks back out. That sends Ghost Reaper so deep, and through goes the Aston Martin. Excellent bit of driving there. Not having to force his way through. Really, really smart driving. Just sending the Ferrari a coded message and then decoding it absolutely wrong. El Paso is looking on the back of that battle at the moment, but he's not going to be able to get involved. Ghost Reaper, though, is not too far off Bombaz at the moment. He'll probably want a little bit of retaliation from that, but Bombaz won't let him happen. He's also dropping a little bit of time. It's Finn. Our ex-race leader is into the pits now. And he's gone from a set of mediums onto a set of hards then. This should see him to the end of the race. And he finds himself out into P7. A few positions to make up. Bear in mind, some guys did pit earlier on in this race. So we may see some late pit stops, some unexpected pit stops to say the least around this circuit. We'll try and see who's making a move. Everyone's fairly spread out at the moment. About a second difference. Ghost Reaper has dropped right back off Bombaz. And I think a lot of his ERS has gone as well. We see the rear light of that Ferrari flashing. El Pato, though, is not too far away from the Ferrari. He's going to want to try and make a battle of it fairly quickly. As we head down into the position where he got the lot, well, when Bombaz got the move done a couple of laps ago. And I love this helicopter shot, how short-lived that was, unfortunately. DRS active, though, for the McLaren. It's El Pato now putting pressure on to Ghost Reaper. Bombaz, though, is right on the rear of Son of Rome as well. So it's almost a four-way battle here for P3. It's very close between the lot of them. We'll take the battle graphic off the screen just for the time being. Once you see the penalties on, DRS active for 3 of the 4 cars there. Will Bombaz try and move into turn 1? We know he can be a smart driver. Oh, I say that as he just miscalculates what's going to happen. Will this allow El Pato to go through on the inside? Yes, it does. Will it allow Ghost Reaper to go through on the inside? It did, but then Ghost Reaper looks like he got a little bit wobbly out of the exit as well. So El Pato is up a position, and Ghost Reaper actually loses out a position on this occasion. So El Pato now will be under pressure a little bit by Bombaz. He needs to get within that second of Son of Rome in front of him if he wants to try and hold on with the DRS. He's getting that gap too close. We'll put the battle graphic up just so we can see when he hits that 1 second gap. The gap is closing according to our graphic. So let's see how much that can continue. See if he can get it down to under a second. He needs it as they cross it. If you look on the bottom right hand side of your screen, the green circle is the DRS activation zone. I don't think he's going to be close enough on this occasion. It was 1.084, so 0.08 of a second off on this occasion. And like we said, yeah, that rear wing of the McLaren not opening on this occasion. But I think he's just going to get the move done without it anyway, and that's a spin for Son of Rome. Really unfortunate for him. He tried to dive down the inside of Pato when Pato definitely had that corner all to himself. And that'll find him dropping all the way down to P7. Pato now could be very, very defenceless here from Bombaz. Bombaz, like we said, is a very smart driver. Will make your driver in front make mistakes for him. And Pato has got to be keeping his head level for the next 10 or so laps of this race. We see Jeweler, who was originally P2 in this race, has dived into the pits. We'll have a quick look. Bombaz, Gramtir, though, who was also in the pits, has come out behind El Pato. Has El Pato pit? That's a tricky one to say very quickly. He has indeed stopped. Everyone in this race has now stopped. So this could be the final order of this race. El Pato leads, Gramtir in second. Bombaz makes up the podium at the moment. But Ghost Reaper and It's Finn are really not far off at all. They're currently battling each other. Finn tries to move down the inside, doesn't make it work on this occasion. But maybe Ghost Reaper's learned from his mistakes last time around, not to go too deep into the corners. I'm saying that he goes quite deep into that one. That allows Finn to try and get a look in on the outside. Doesn't happen, goes deep again. Inside becomes Finn. Finn's going to go down the inside here as we head down to middle of sector 2. Goes down the inside and Finn gets the position up again. Ghost Reaper just seemed to be letting his pride get the better of him there. Every single time he's been sent wide. Carlos heads down the inside, gets that move done. And are really, really unfortunate for the Ferrari driver, who actually faces his teammate 12 seconds behind at the moment. Bar podium currently looks like this. El Pato in the lead. Gramton P2. And then penalties could really change it up from P3 downwards. Bombaz, Finn, and Ghost Reaper all in the mix at the moment. But Gramter on those fresher tyres, it gets past El Pato, but further back, Pila's retired. Not quite sure what's happened there. We'll try and get an on board with Focula. I don't think we're going to be able to see it before it gets cleared. We're not, in fact. But yeah, DNF for the Rebel driver. DNF drive-through penalty for Son of Rome for speeding under the safety car as well. And this has just turned this race on its head. So tyres will be a big issue. We'll have that up on the screen for you. We will probably see a few soft tyres in play here. Ghost Reaper goes to them. A lot of other drivers choosing either new mediums or staying out if they're drivers like Gramter or Jula who pit only a lap or two ago. And this is going to be really mixing the strategy up. Ghost Reaper thinks he can make those soft tyres last for 11 laps. And I really wish him the best. I really do. We'll wait and see what happens as we head further down this race. We hopefully won't have the safety car out for too long. So as it currently stands, our championship leader El Pato is winning this. Well, is in P3. Gramtir at the moment is in P12 with this championship. This would be a really good win for him for round 16. OST Jeweler is currently, let's try and find him, P8 at the moment, 72 points. 5 points off English Dave. So if he holds this at the moment, he will overtake English Dave for 7th in the championship. It's Finn, who's currently in 4th position, is 6th in the championship. Smithy, who's currently down to 8th, is actually 5th in the championship as well. Next time I will get these graphics up on the screen, as these look absolutely fantastic. But I'll make sure that all those graphics are up on the stream for you next time around, so we can keep an eye on our championship leaders, especially as we head through the races. But hopefully one more lap onto safety car. That will leave us on lap 21 out of 31. That is 10 laps remaining. Actually, 11 laps remaining of this Singapore Grand Prix. As we keep on board with Gramter. He's still in the lead here. OST Jeweler not far behind. But pretty much everyone has bolted on new tyres here for the final 2 laps. Excuse me. Ghost Reaper is the only red wheel in a sea of yellow here. And it'll be interesting to see what he can do compared to our medium runners. Will he be able to make them benefit in those first couple of laps, especially without the DRS? And will they last till the end of the race? We know how hard they can be, how hard tyres can be abused round Singapore. Let's see if he's got his live stats up. He doesn't, and that's really annoying because it would have been really nice to see how damaged those soft tyres become. But we'll keep an eye on them as we head through. Fokiller is just catching up with the rest of the pack. He'll be the last driver here. So all 10 drivers will score points for this afternoon's races. So safety car is in this lap. That is what race control has told us. We'll wait and see what happens. We'll go back to the front of the pack. That might be useful for a restart, wouldn't it? Jeweler giving Grant a massive gap here for this restart. He could fit another 2 or 3 cars in that gap at the moment. And as we probably expected, there we go. Puts that gap back to almost nothing. He doesn't want a gap here for a safety car restart. And when will Grant go? They're keeping the pack pretty quick here. Grant is going to go the final few turns. Will Jeweler be able to keep up as they head down the home finish straight? El Pato not far off the back. We'll hop on board with El Pato because he will get a good view of the action here as we head through turn 1 and 2. And it looked like Jeweler tried to make a preemptive move on Gramter. Not going to happen on this occasion. Will Pato be put under pressure by Finn? He might do here on the restart. Finn. Oh, contact there with Pato. Pato goes round. He just manages to save himself. That's definitely damage for Finn. And yeah, missing front end plate there for Finn. Just locked up in the braking zone. Really poor decision there. That sends Pato down to P2. Sorry, down to P6. And really, really unfortunately, he's actually going to hold up a lot of the field here as Bombaz struggling to get past him on the corners just because he's going to be so much slower. Ghost Reaper, that's definitely him into the wall as we see him drop down and reset to track. And that's really poor sportsmanship for reset. Smithy is past Son of Rome. We see him go so deep into a lot of the corners. Contact where John Boy hits the back of Rome but manages to just hold his car in place. And Smithy now is just managing to hold everything together. He's got to be careful. He always goes deep into corners. He maybe needs to rethink his race strategy on the next couple of occasions just to avoid doing that too much. But El Paso recovering from his earlier shunt with with Finn. And I wonder if we'll see Finn head into the pits. That bit of wing plate really won't be helping him. But also a pit stop would really hinder any championship chances here. We do see the Red Bull pull off to the left there at the top of your screens. He will head into the pits. And El Pado is back up into 4th position. Not quite where he was before the incident happened, but only 1 place off John Boy, who had that earlier incident where he managed to end up in the wall, has found himself up into P6 after we had 3 earlier pit stops. Son of Rome, Fokiller, and it's Finn all in the pit lane then. As Bombaz is probably our closest battle at the moment. I should say that. It's Smithy on the back of El Pato. Smithy really got to be careful before going deep into corners. Will he do it on the attack as well? He's getting a little bit better with it. That was a better corner for the Ferrari. And he's now starting to put a little bit of pressure on El Paso in the McLaren in front of him. And this could really pay off. We're going to go ahead to Bombaz and Jeweler. Bombaz right on the back of the Mercedes. It's so close between the two of them. The Aston Martin really trying everything to get past. But OSC making that car as wide as he possibly can to avoid what the Aston Martin throws at him. DRS obviously not active yet under the safety car restart. But it's going to be a tight, clenched couple of laps for Jeweler if he wants to keep the Aston Martin this close in the race. Still heading into the last few corners of lap 22 here of 31 of Division 2 of the F05 Championship. And Jeweler just making his way through the corners. We'll have a look on how Bombaz's tyres are doing. Hopefully he's got his graphics turned on. He doesn't, but Bombaz does. Jeweler's got his turned on, rather. We'll have a look at how his are doing. On about 12% on the rears. The fronts aren't doing too pretty. So maybe just keeping on with that. But battle for P2 here at the moment is so close. You can see the timing at the moment at the bottom of your screen. It's just the difference in how it's happening. 3-second time penalty for Bombaz and Foal Killer, both for multiple warnings. That could send Bombaz out of the podium spots here. That's really, really crucial for the Aston Martin. Now, we've got a yellow flag, sector 1. Not sure what that's about. Is a Ferrari going slowly? Oh, contact there between the Aston Martin and Mercedes. The Mercedes gets sent wide. And I think the Aston Martin actually letting the Mercedes back through. So really good sportsmanship there by the Aston Martin. But this has allowed El Paso to get right on the rear of the cars in front of him, as well as Smithy. This is now a four-way battle for P2. And it's going to be very close. Aston Martin once again tries to go down the inside of the Mercedes, thinking better of it right at the last moment. We come across the bridge where John Boy had a little bit of an instant earlier. Round this left-hander, Aston Martin gets a good pull away. DRS will now be active for the cars as they head down the straight. Will he try and move around the outside? He's just not close enough alongside on this occasion, so probably will have to delay it. Gets through. Contact, though, between the two cars. It's contact actually resulting in damage for the Aston Martin. Front left end plate then coming off for Bombaz. Pato gets past Jeweler as they run down to the left-right chicane. Goes around the outside. Contact between the McLaren and the Mercedes. Two that used to be a collaborative effort in Formula 1 now become separate entities that are battling it out on this racetrack tonight. And it actually involves Jeweler getting ahead of Pato. Pato gets the DRS. Actually, both of them get the DRS off Bombaz, who's had to dive into the pit for that rear wing, for that front wing damage. But Pato still putting the pressure on the Mercedes in front of him. He sees the rear light of the Mercedes flashing. He knows that ERS is running out for the driver in front. The electrical energy is limited in the Mercedes, and he's got to now mount his charge. He gets the DRS swing open, feigns the inside, sends it round the outside, and that McLaren is going to go around the outside, becomes the inside of that turn, and it's quite a DC make. Oh, he contacts with the wall. Late on the brakes there was El Pato. He's done a Smithy in the nicest possible regard. Really, really deep into the turn. And actually, that's caused him not one, but two positions. As Smithy now finds himself up into the podium positions on behalf of Pato. And Pato's got some work to do if he wants to try and catch back up. But John Boy is really on the rear of that Mercedes as well. He's got a penalty, bear in mind, so that might come into play later on in this race. 7 laps of this race remaining, of course. But these top 4 really battling it out for P2 and P3 onwards. Gramter is nearly 9 seconds clear of everything. He's pretty much won this, unless something doesn't go his way. John Boy really deep into that corner. Didn't see the braking zone come up. But Pato, that gives him a little bit of relief to try and chase after Smithy now. Will the DRS become helpful for any of our drivers further on in this race? Smithy saving some of his ERS. You can still see the rear light of that Mercedes flashing. It's going to be a temptation for him, like a red cloth to a bull. And this is where he can now start to chase the DRS open as we start lap 25 here. And he's got to get that DRS. He's going to try and make a move. The red light taunting him with every passing corner. And he's doing well just to get a little bit closer to Jeweler in front of him. He's got to wait till he can mount up his charge. He's got to play the game safely. That's what he's got to do. He doesn't want to try and force an overtake and have Jeweler and himself exit this race prematurely. But we'll see what happens as they come down this final stretch of the straight. DRS deactivated a little bit early there for the Ferrari. Playing games with the Mercedes in front of him by the looks of it. And there's contact between the two drivers. Poor braking there by Smithy. Doesn't look like the Ferrari's got any damage. But he did well to, he did poorly to brake there, but did well to avoid any damage to either of the cars. And Smithy now under pressure a little bit from Pato. He's a Red Bull between two McLaren Mercedes cars. And this is all where it comes down to play for. These are the final few moments of this race. Smithy again deep into the corner. Pato will be eager to try and make a benefit of that. DRS gets opened on the McLaren. Will he be able to make any advantage of it? I don't think he's going to be able to on this occasion. As they head down in Sector 3 of lap 25 of 31 of this race. OST Jeweler is actually managing to hold off. Bear in mind he's got almost no ERS left in that car. He's doing well to defend from Smithy. Maybe Smithy's just planning his attack out a little bit more than we thought. Just giving it a little bit of extra time. As they head across the line. Smithy has fallen out of DRS range, as has Pato to Smithy. So that'll be 2 drivers without DRS. I'll tell you who will have DRS though. John Boy in the Williams behind Pato. He's just been holding on like a mosquito to an arm. And he's just right following that Mercedes through. DRS gets open for the Williams, and he's passed before he can even say thank you. I wonder if Pato's got an issue maybe, because he is very, very slow down that straight. Maybe it was a setup difference there to do with cornering ability or straight line speed, and Pato really suffering because of it. This could cost him a podium as he drops further and further off this pack. Will John Boy be able to make it up? We'll see what penalty he's got. I believe it's a 3-second penalty, and it is indeed. Finn lower down the grid with 11 seconds of penalties. Bombaz has 8, and Folkiller also has 6. But just 3 seconds for John Boy at the moment. He'd have to get past these 2 cars and then get a 3-second gap if he wants to try and make this podium stick for the Williams team. He got the penalty earlier on, but it's now the consequences of that action that he's got to deal with now. He's got 4 laps left to do it when we cross the finish line, and this is going to be so crucial for the Williams driver. He's got to get past and then gain that time back on the drivers he's just overtaken. We'll see what happens as they come around the corner. Will he be able to mount an attack? Will he hope for Smithy to make a mistake like we saw earlier on with Bombaz and the Ferrari driver? But we'll wait and see what happens. Through turns 1, 2 and 3 he goes very smoothly. We're going to stick most of our focus on this Williams driver till the end of the race probably, as he's trying to regain what an awful start to this race he had. It was all going so well until one of the safety car restarts. He just ended up in the wall. Fortunate to not lose a tyre, but very unfortunately had to go to the pits to get a fresh wing on when everyone was still under pretty much safety car grouping. But it's still John Boy that is wanting to mount an attack here. Smithy is getting ever more worried as John Boy gets ever closer to the Ferrari in front of him. You can see the Scarlet Ferrari just on the tip of his nose. He's got to wait for the Ferrari to make a mistake. Will it happen, or will desperation from the Williams be a little bit too much for him? We've seen what happens when a driver over pushes on a track like Singapore. It all goes downhill from here. Will John Boy have the patience and the virtue needed to try and get the move done, not only on Smithy, but probably on Jeweler as well? Jeweler's gaining time from Smithy here as well, as Smithy continues to battle the Williams behind him. And it's all going to come down to the final few moments of the race. Do not close your eyes. Do not turn off that screen, because it is going to be an exciting finish, ladies and gentlemen. John Boy is just itching time closer and closer to the Ferrari in front of him. But it doesn't look like he's actually making much progress. He's got to start burning some ERS. He's got to start putting in a competitive challenge down the start-finish straight. That's Folkiller getting another 3-second penalty as well. That takes his total up to 9 now, I believe. But it's John Boy still battling out. But we're going to hop back for the battle for P6 as Bombaz is making to look and move on its Finn. With the DRS, he's going to be able to make it done. Not on this occasion. Son of Rome gets himself a 3-second penalty. That's the first one for him this evening. Bombaz getting very twitchy with the car in front of him. I'm going to turn off the battle because neither of them have put their names in or share the telemetry, so I'm not going to put that in for the time being. But it's Bombaz who's really trying to... It gets past Finn, sorry, on that occasion. I missed that little bit. But Finn dropping more and more positions. It's not great for the Rebel driver. Reminds me of Sergio Perez a few weeks ago. Just not being able to do much on this occasion. But John Boy is now down into the 4 3/10 section of this battle. He's got to make it work if he wants to try and get a move done here. He's so crucial for him. He's got to get it done. He gets the DRS swing open, tries to go around the outside. Really good defending there by Smithy to try and block off the outside from John Boy. He tried to force him down the inside, chose not to go there. And that's a really great defence by the Ferrari team. Oh, the Ferrari driver of Smithy, who on previous laps hasn't had the best of luck with defending around some of the corners around here. But John Boy will have another attempt at DRS as they head down the start-finish straight to start lap 29, I believe. Is that lap 29? Yes, it is lap 29. 3 more laps to go here in the F05 Championship. Round 16 here at Singapore. And John Boy is trying everything he can to try and get the position. I think he's kind of accepted that a podium is not on the cards for him today. El Paso has definitely not decided that fact as we see him trying to catch back up to this little group further back in your shot. But John Boy, I think, has accepted that 3-second penalty was going to be too much for a podium for the Williams team today. The Ferrari is probably going to hold it, but we'll keep an eye on this battle because it's going to go right to the end of this race. Tyres will definitely come into it. We'll see what the tyres are looking like at the moment for the mediums. That's an estimate. Let's have a look. Pato's got his on. And a little bit of damage for El Pato as well. You see 20% on the front right of the wall. John Boy's retired. As we were looking at that, we'll try and get a visual of what's happened. It looks like he's gone deep into this corner. Will we have another safety car? He's gone deep into this corner. On the right-hand side is where this car would have been. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, does that open this up. John Boy out of this race after a fantastic qualifying session. And he ends up in the wall. Maybe late braking. I think that must have been the cause of it. But that's almost opened up an opportunity for Smithy to run away with the podium here. El Pato's pretty much got no defence here from to try and catch up to Smithy unless he burns all of his ERS in the next couple of laps. But even that might not be enough. Everyone now moving up a position, up Fokela, up into 9th place. Everyone still scoring points, of course, but John Boy Racing really going to be gutted with that one as we head in to the final 2 laps here of the Singapore Grand Prix. El Pato is getting that time down ever so slightly to the Ferrari in front of him, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Alfa Romeo and Grant almost pulling away a magnificent lead here with 13 seconds on the clock to the Mercedes behind him. He's driving a very dominant race. He knows what he's got to do to try and maintain this lead as we see him coming down one of the straights here in Sector 2. He's just got to keep it cool, calm and collected here for the final lap and a half of this race. We're keeping an eye on timing screens just to make sure we're not going to miss any battles. But he's just got to bring the car home now. His engineers are telling him all the things he's got to do. Just get the car in one piece back to that finish line. He's got enough advantage. He can probably start lifting and coasting if he's low on fuel as well. But a few more corners and then one final lap here for the Alfa Romeo driver. We'll watch him as he comes home to secure the race. Everyone else fairly spread out on our grid. Bear in mind, only 9 drivers set to finish at the moment. 2 more corners stand between the Alfa Romeo and one more lap of this race. Here we go then. Final lap for Grantier. We'll take the map off your screen. Oh, we won't. We can't do that individually, apparently. We'll have to keep the map on your screen. But Grantier coming around for his final lap. He's 15 seconds clear now of Jula behind him. This is now more of a wave and show your appreciation to the crowd kind of lap. He knows he's far enough ahead that he's not going to be challenged. He's just got to bring that Italian car home to the pits. And he knows his engineers and crew will be waiting for him when he does. Down the back streets of Singapore, the light shining beautifully off that Alfa Romeo. He's done everything perfectly this afternoon. Timed his strategy to perfection. We saw him and El Pato having a little bit of a battle when he came out of the pits post that safety car. And I'll tell you what, it's all been his way this afternoon. Once he got out in front, he never looked back. He made sure that his other drivers were in his rearview mirror at all times. He stuck to his game plan, got those laps in, and just flew away from the competition while everyone else battled. He was like, no, thank you. I'm going to go. I'm going to race my race, and I'll see you guys at the finish line. And that's what he's going to do this afternoon. 3-4 more corners stand between him and the checkered flag now as we come down through Sector 3, through what used to be the old stadium section, the newest part of the track here at the Singapore Grand Prix. One heavy braking zone to go through the right and left chicane. And here we go then, 2 more corners coming round the left-hander for Grantier. He'll take the fireworks, he'll take the applause on Bonfire Night in the UK. He gets fireworks in Singapore, and it's Grantier who gets the win here for the Alfa Romeo team. And a great job he has done. Jula will probably come round to finish P2, and it will be Smithy coming home for P3 as well. Great podium for the both of those. El Pato just misses out narrowly for a podium, finds himself in P4. There's a few penalties that will have to work themselves out here, but Bombaz will come across the line on track in P5. It's Finn, comes home in P6. Son of Rome comes across the final 2 turns here. He'll find himself in P7. And then Ghost Reaper, who's had a really poor afternoon, in all honesty. Not managed to get everything linked up. comes around the final 2 turns here, will come home for P8, gets himself 4 points, and Foul Killer, our final driver, he's had a lot of stuff thrown at him this afternoon. He will come home in P9. Really good drive there by everybody. Well played for carrying on, especially in the face of adversity. So many incidents, and fair play for everyone carrying on with the race. We'll go to our podium now for all of our drivers as we see Graham Tier take that top spot for the Alfa Romeo team and his home country, of course. We have two Brits as well on the podium. And fair play to everyone that raced this afternoon or this evening. We see the celebrations with the champagne, celebrating with some of his crew. Big cheers all around to everyone further down in the paddock. And here's how our rounds out for this afternoon. Graham Tier gets the win in Singapore, starting from 3rd. Made a good race of it up into P1. OST Jeweler started from 10th, came up to P2, and Smithy makes up the rest of the podium. El Pato, Bombaz, Finn, Son of Rome, Ghost Reaper, Foul Killer, and John Boy make up your top 10. I believe John Boy will still be... He will still be classified. Very good for him. And then our DNFs from this race were Peeler, Apex Joe, Vapor Mini, English Dave, and Hoodie Pete. And getting the fastest lap as well was It's Finn with a 1:32.9. So really well played for him. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. As always, I've been TK. I hope to see you next week. And for round 17 of the F05 Championship, it's been a pleasure. And for now, good night and God bless.